Hi, Mike here. I'm going to be building a Christmas tunnel. It's going to be grand, and it's going to be the second year that I've done this in a row. I originally wasn't going to do this after the first year because honestly, this was a massive pain in the ass, but I'm putting myself through the ringer again, but this time I am employing the techniques that I have learned of my mistakes in the past year. Now, if you have ever wanted to build a Christmas tunnel, then you may have gone down the same path that I did, where you just Google Christmas tunnel and you came up with this page here. These are the plans that I followed, and they are good plans. Honestly, this was really well written, and it was a great foundational element. I think it's fantastic, but it did not take into account a few things. Number one, I live in a cold part of the nation. I live in Western New York, Southwestern New York, and it gets cold here, which looks great when the snow falls and the Christmas tunnel just lights up the white blanket of awesomeness. But it's an awful lot to put on PVC connectors. And the other thing is, I also live in a valley, which means it gets very windy here. The leaves have fallen. There is nothing stopping the wind from just rushing down here, and it was causing the tunnel to sway. It's just PVC and string lights, but it was still enough that it could grab the wind and caused it to rock. So what we wound up with was a perfect storm of badness, where we had a big tunnel that was supported by PVC connectors rocking back and forth that were brittle in 10-degree temperature or less. There was a lot of breakages, frequently. But I think I have fixed them, and I think I fixed a few other things, including how to hang up the lights in a way and actually assemble the entire tunnel in a way that I don't use 1,000 zip ties, and that everything I use can be taken down and reused for years to come, I hope. So let's go ahead and go through it. I'm gonna get to building this. All right, now according to the plans, it calls for rebar to be placed in the ground so that the PVC pipe, Schedule 40 PVC, 1/2 inch, can be placed over top of the rebar and spaced about 62 inches away from each other this way, lengthwise, and about 114 inches width. So that's how I'm gonna go ahead and do it here, according to my walk last year, and it hasn't changed, so I'm gonna do it again this year. That left me about 5 segments of 5-foot lengths of Schedule 40 1/2 inch PVC. Now, one of the pipes from last year had rebar already in it, and it would not give it up. So I have the rest here, but this one I'm just gonna go ahead and stake in the ground directly. All right, now it's tough to tell from this angle, but this tree here is gonna kind of interfere with this path. So I'm gonna have to trim a few of these branches back just a little bit. I don't wanna do it too much because I got Christmas lights hung up on this bad boy. All right, now I'm just kind of doing a bit of a soft fit in there before I stake the rest of them in, just to kind of get a feel for it. Because once they're in the ground, they're a bit committed. Now, one good thing is PVC, by and large, and this structure is pretty forgiving. So, you know, you don't got to be a structural engineer to, you just got to get in the ballpark. Once this is all assembled and the lights are on, any imperfections, believe me, they will go unnoticed. Is there anything better than the smell of a fresh pine tree? Let's get some PVC going. Behold, a Christmas tunnel. Some assembly required. Word of caution, this rebar is pert near invisible until you get the PVC on. All right, connectors. You see the difference between this and this, aside from the ring here? Yeah, neither do I. But there is a difference. This is what I used last year, and these things kept cracking. We get to the middle support, there's gonna be another that forms the top. It's gonna arch in, which means there's going to be pressure put on the top point, which is why I have this ring here that helped, but it was a bit of a stopgap. Like, this was why I almost didn't build the tunnel this year until I found this. This is furniture grade PVC, which apparently is a whole other class. This is not the stuff that you get at your hardware store to link up, well, what ordinary people use PVC for. This is for PVC furniture connection, which means it's made for the outdoors. It's made for UV exposure. It's made for more rugged environments. And hopefully, from what I'm told, it is also made for the cold. So we'll see. I'm going to be banking on this. In terms of all of these potential fixes, I don't know how they're going to turn out. I'm hoping well, but there may be a year 3 where I improve upon these improvements. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to make another video after the new year, after all the dust has settled and I'm feeling all bloated from the holidays. And I'm just going to give a little bit of an update on what went wrong so that next year I can try to find solutions. So obviously the ends, I'm using a 3-point connector, and in the middle portions, a full T. Now, these are soft fit. Do by no means think that this connection is done. There is going to be shoring up and securing galore. This part kind of sucks, I'm not gonna lie. Getting these set up and then linked together, it's a hassle and a half. Once it's all secure, then you can finalize the securing and actually make it look good and strong. Strong is important. All right, once you got 2 sections like this, time to join them in the middle. Okay, camera change up. This one I don't care if it gets rained on. If you're building a Christmas tunnel and you expect not to use colorful language, by God, you don't know what you're getting into. A Christmas tunnel is the stuff of suburban legend, and it's worth every drop of blood. If this doesn't win me the neighborhood Christmas decorating contest, then I'm gonna be so salty for all of 2025. I'm gonna go into the new year a salty, salty man. This is what happens when you turn 44. You start dreaming of winning the neighborhood decorating contest by building a Christmas tunnel. I go full Clark Griswold, suburban life. You think I'm in here with you, suburban life? You're in here with me. So for those of you that were wondering, the day I'm recording this is Monday, November 25th. We have a tradition, and by tradition I mean we did it last year, but I enjoyed it so much I want to make it tradition. So let it be written, so let it be done. Where we do all the decorating before Thanksgiving, but we don't turn it on. You get all the decoration done. Everything laid out, strung up, plugged in, set up on the timer. We eat our Thanksgiving dinner. We finish, we have our dessert, we finish, we get up from the table. Thanksgiving is done. Turn on the lights. Now it's time. I like that. Okay, so this is an idea that I had from last year. This is an improvement, hopefully. I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm really hoping it does. But the problem is, as you may have seen, these slide out and these have tension on them. It's tough and it's starting to rain. I'm gonna work through it. I'm a trooper. But I wanna prevent that from happening. I wanna really secure these up. So the best way I can think to do that is by drilling a hole through the connector and the PVC, kind of about the point where they would meet, not in the middle, but where the PVC would be, trying not to ruin the structural integrity of it, and then using that hole to put in a cotter pin. Straight through, bend it, secure.
Let's talk clips, specifically the clips that we're going to be attaching the lights to the PVC. Last year, I used about 1,000 zip ties, and I honestly felt really bad about it. I don't like using single-use plastics, especially in that kind of quantity. Plus, this year's endeavor was to make things as reusable as possible. And I went back to that Instructables page that kicked this whole thing off, and I saw that the author of that offered a 3D print file for the clips that he used. And they were good, not gonna lie, but I think that they were meant more for a across this way and not this way, which was actually a pretty big difference because it needed to hold tight. It needed to hold firm all the way up and down as opposed to laterally to hold the lights going this way. So the 3D print file that he provided was not really secure. It kept the lights on the structure, but it didn't hold on a vertical piece of PVC. So back to the drawing board, and I went through a few different design elements. I had this guy right here. That one worked okay-ish. This was my biggest contender here, which has kind of a ratcheting element to it. Let's see if I can get it in focus. There we go. A ratcheting element to it, but the problem was I couldn't get it to stay securely closed all the time, but I liked the clip portion of this for the lights. So after several different methodologies and revisions of those methodologies, this is what I landed on right here. This worked really, really well, and the way it basically works is you have this cam system that pops onto the PVC, so this flexes enough to allow itself to go onto the PVC, then latch on securely, and then have the clip for the lights. And this really holds secure. In fact, it's probably maybe a little too tight, but it works well. I've only had a couple breakages. I actually printed about 400 of these for my tunnel, and I pert near used all of them in the creation of this. I'm actually recording this portion here the day after Thanksgiving, but I can report, having done so, a wild amount of success with this clip. Super happy with how this turned out. Awesome stuff. The lights clip on really nice and secure and snug there. It secures nice and snug on there. And out of 400 prints, I only had about 4 breakages. So 1%, not too shabby. Anyway, back to the video.
It is now day 3 of the 2-day tunnel build. It's supposed to be cloudy today, but not rainy. We'll see. But it's the day before Thanksgiving, and there's a lot to do. I need to make turkey stock today. I need to make 3 different pies today, and tomorrow's just gonna be a whole beast. So I gotta get this tunnel finished this morning. But fortunately, the structure's done, the clips are in place, and now it's time for the lights. And if you think this is all the lights there are, you're mistaken. I got 5 strands of these. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to use all 5, but I really wanted to make sure I had enough length of cord and everything, so I wanted to be prepared. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and start stringing this up, and when I do it, I'm gonna make sure that these are lit while I do it, because I don't wanna be stringing up 5 strands of these bad boys and then find out there's an issue. I've already tested them, but there's a big difference between testing them indoors and then testing them live while they're being clipped on. So, here we go.
One eternity later.